G'day guys, welcome to the lab. Some of you welcome back, some of you welcome full stop. Got about 2/3 of you now are newbies basically. You've just popped along, saw the video on Skid Factory and subscribed, so that's awesome. Thank you, thanks heaps, especially thanks to the Skid Factory, Nick Neem and Richard from HGT Precision Gearboxes. They hooked us up with the lads to come around and have a look, so can't thank them enough. Awesome boost for us at the lab. What we've got in here today, or probably for the week, because I don't work quite that fast, is this little Mitsubishi Lancer twin turbo V8 Toyota Lexus 4-litre quad cam motor thing, like 950 horsepower or something. I'm not kidding. It was detuned a little bit to make it more drivable. But there was a little bit of a whoopsie, so this is a replacement chassis for the project or the car or whatever. I've had nothing to do with all this stuff until now. So I'll just run you through just really quickly what it's all about. It's got some sort of a larger diff in the back of it. I'm not sure what it is. It might be a Ford 9-inch or something like that. I haven't looked underneath yet. It's got a 4-link rear end and tubs obviously, and quite large wheels and tyres. Nitto, oh, they must be NT05s or something like that on there. We've got obviously quite a lot of custom suspension stuff in the car. A lot of stuff's been cadmium plated and all that sort of carry on, so it's all pretty bling bling. I think he said it might be a Sigma power steering box in there, so it's not a rack, it's a box with drag links and all that sort of carry on. But anyway, long story short, bit of an incident with the car. Original chassis has been replaced with this new chassis slash body, so we're in the process of sorting out a roll cage for him. I'll cut through to that in a second. We'll look at the old cage and we'll talk about what we're doing with the new cage. There's the roll cage that was in the original chassis. Yes, this is a new chassis. The other one was a bit smoked. So our job today, well actually probably in the next 2 or 3 days, because I'm not that fast at building cages when you have to TIG weld the whole lot. That's the way I do it. You know, you can MIG weld, but I TIG. It's just my preference. And turn that spaghetti into one of those cagey thingies and put it in that chassis. Now the customer was basically happy with the design of this cage, which is why it's ended up sitting in my shop here. He wants me to replicate it as close as possible, except we're going to make some improvements and make sure we weld all the way around the bars. So Motorsport New Zealand rules stipulate that the primary structure has to be welded full 360 degrees on all the tubes. So technically I think this cage probably does comply with that, because that's not primary structure. However, it's a pretty important piece of the cage, and it'd be nice to have it welded at least a little bit further than that. So we'll get on with that. We'll try and do a better job. I'm sure it shouldn't be too difficult. And we'll put a new one together without all the extra bends that this one's got. I'm not sure how well it shows up on the camera for you guys, but this particular area here had a bit of a hard time. You can see there's quite a bend through here, quite a bend just here, and the main hoop is actually crushed in from that diagonal brace, not to mention this is bent. So roll cages are good, guys. If you're going to put big power into cars, you can get a cage in there and get it complied to, you know, road legal. If you want your car road legal, good idea, definitely a good idea. Anyway, let's get on with what are we going to do first? Some cutting. I like cutting. I might cut this old cage up and use it as template for the main hoop. Make sure we get it right. Actually, I'll cut it out and I'll fit it in the car and make sure I'm happy with the way it sits in the car first, and we'll go from there. Well, that's quite tight. Take that. Ta-da! Alright, so a bit hot, it's quite hard work doing this. Got the main hoop, hang on, we'll get there. Crazy gimbal, there we go. Got the main hoop cut out of that old cage. That was a bit of hard work. Not so easy, a lot of tension on the bars and that, so when you're trying to cut through it with the saber saw, it's jamming up the blades. A couple of whacks with a hammer here and there, and a bit of a chisel in between the cuts to take the tension off the blade. Got that out. Folding up the new hoop using the old hoop as a bit of a template, taking into account the old hoop is somewhat bent, and just thought I'd show you a little trick. This is these benders or folders, whatever you want to call it, they're ideally mounted on a pedestal, and we just don't have the room here for that. You could put it in somewhere or make a temporary one, but it's just there's not enough room literally to swing the pipe around. I don't do a lot of roll cages, maybe about 2 or 3 a year, so I don't really want to invest in a lot of effort for the tooling to do it. But what happens is you get the first bend, piece of cake. Second bend, that's a little bit harder, but it's not too bad. This third one is an absolute mongrel, really hard to do by hand when you don't have a pedestal, even with a bar on there like that to get the leverage. It's just not enough, and I'm no weakling, and it's near enough impossible for me to do. So I cheat and I get my porta power kit and I set it up like this, jam the ram in there. It's actually got a fitting so it can't slide off the what are we going to call that, off the bolt anyway, the fitting there. And it's as easy as that. You just pump on the porta power, you got yourself a hydraulic pipe bender. So considerably easier and less stress, and I won't hurt myself and be off work, and you guys will miss out on entertaining videos. So, well, I hope they're entertaining anyway. So there you go. That's a little trick for all you guys who might want to operate from home and struggle with those folders. You might be able to, benders rather, you might be able to copy that and save yourself a bit of grief. Won't do it right at the start. When the two arms are quite close together like this, you can't get the porta power in between the two. But once you've got it opened out far enough, then you can crank it away and save yourself some hassle. Okay, so later in the day, I've just had a look back through the stuff that I recorded earlier on today, and I owe you guys a big apology. The UMM word has apparently come out about 6,000 times in that previous video, so I do apologise for that. It's one of those things, must have just been the word that's on the tip of my tongue today, and it just keeps coming out. So let's see if I can get through this last section without doing that again. Anyway, main hoop is all bent up now, using that trick that I showed you, using the porta power to get the power onto the handles to get that thing cranked around without having a pedestal mounted in the shop somewhere. As you know, is really not the room. I could probably conjure up something, but hey, that seems to work pretty well anyway. So there's the original one. The legs were cut off. They're about 40 mils short because there's 40 mils left in the bottom of the original car, the original chassis. So these legs on these ones are 40 mils long, 50 I think actually. There's plenty of room to go up a little bit higher if I really wanted to with this cage. And I'm considering going for boxes under the feet, although the customer's a bit anti that. So I'll have a chat with him later on tonight and see what he reckons. Now you can see this side here is kicked in quite a lot. That's how much damage was done to the vehicle. So this is how important these things are in saving your ass if something goes wrong. So there you go, main hoop done, nice and straight, nice and symmetrical. That word did sneak out, didn't it? Or was that an AHH? Anyway, we'll get on with it. We'll get that into this little beastie tomorrow. We've got to cut out some foot plates. It might not be, there should be enough light in there. Cut out some foot plates to go in the bottom corner where that cross section meets the sill. Do those and get that main hoop at least tacked into place, and then work forward and do all our rear braces and all that sort of stuff, and the laterals, etc, etc. Laterals are these bars that start here and they come through, follow the main A pillar, and we'll have the gussets welded in on the back side of this and onto the tubes, have them as running as close to here as possible as per the book. So there you go. Like I say, I apologise for the UMM word popping out a lot today. I'm tired. It's coming out even when I'm trying not to. So that's life. I'm human. Like, share, subscribe. Hopefully you had a laugh. It was pretty funny with the saber saw there trying to cut through the tubes, and she was jamming up, and in the end the big hammer came out. That fixed it pretty well. Nearly a disaster with that window and the bar rolled over that way. That was bad. Didn't expect that. I thought it was actually just going to fall flat towards the bench. Didn't think about the weight at the top end of it and the way that thing's shaped, and it just rolled it straight towards the glass. So yeah, lucky. Okay, I'll carry on with this tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get something exciting going on, and we should have, I'd say by the end of tomorrow, we should have something that looks like a cage with a whole crap load of welding to go onto it. So all good. Cheers guys, bye.